Today you saw a scramble from two F-15s from Portland Air National Guard in Oregon, where we scrambled in response to an aircraft up in the Seattle area that was approaching a restricted area that was set up to support President Obama's visit to the Seattle area. And it happened about 1:38 this afternoon.
How does that first show up on the, just a blip on the screen, or do you say?
You know, our radar facilities here in Portland don't track that. The Northwest Air Defense Sector, located up in Cord Air Force Base, tracks that type of aircraft. That information is then relayed down to Portland, where a scramble order is given to our aircraft that are on alert 24/7 here in the Portland area, and we're scrambled up in response to that.
Sir, you mentioned that this was a report of an aircraft approaching restricted airspace. It was our understanding that the airspace was actually breached. Are you telling us then that it was not, this aircraft was simply getting close to the restricted airspace?
No, I'm telling you, I don't know. I haven't had an opportunity to debrief with the pilots yet. I just know that an aircraft was approaching it. I don't know if it ever entered that airspace or not.
And can you talk about the dimensions of this restricted airspace? Is it a small area, a large area? What can you tell us about it?
You know, I don't know the exact dimensions. The Northwest Air Defense Sector, as well as the FAA, up in the Seattle area, does know the size of that. It varies depending on what the situation might be, and I don't know what the exact dimensions were for today.
Can you discuss the orders that these pilots were given when they took off? What was their command as they headed north?
Sure. Initially, they're just given a scramble order with a vector altitude heading. If the opportunity arises, sometimes we have the opportunity to get some advance notification of what they may be scrambling on. At other times, we don't. Again, I haven't had an opportunity to debrief with the pilots, so I don't know how much information they had before they were scrambled. But as you may have heard, I've heard we've gotten some noise complaints from the Vancouver metro area. They were given an immediate right-hand turn, unlike a normal departure where we'd fly along the river to avoid noise abatement and everything so that we don't upset the local community. In a situation like today, it's full afterburner with an immediate right-hand turn heading north for the fastest response as possible.
You can't discuss how quickly they can get from point A to point B. Can you discuss the aircraft's capabilities? What's its max speed? When you're full afterburner, how fast
Sure.
can this aircraft go?
Well over Mach 1.0. Typically in today's environment, we'll stay subsonic, again, to avoid sonic booms, anything of that nature. But if directed, we got the capability to go full afterburner and get there as fast as possible.
The Pierce County Sheriff's Office says that their 911 lines were actually knocked out as a result of the sonic boom. Is that an experience that could potentially happen based on your experience in these types of aircraft?
No, not at all. That's the first time I've ever heard of anything like that happening as a result of a sonic boom.
So these folks are probably 24/7. They're just basically waiting to be scrambled. Is that correct? Just like firemen waiting for fire.
Absolutely. 365 days a year, we've got aircraft on alert, ready to respond for just this type of situation.
Can you discuss how this situation ended? We understand that the plane landed, was not engaged by your aircraft. Can you talk about that at all?
I wish I could. Again, I don't know yet. I haven't had a chance to debrief with the pilots. I know that after they did arrive to the restricted area, they were then asked to cap and hold over that area, and I'm not sure if there were any follow-on engagements or intercepts at all.
Cap and hold.
Cap, they would loiter at a fuel-conserving airspeed over the area where they originally would have had the intercept.
So you don't know if they had any contact with the offending plane?
No, I do not.
What would they be authorized to do? Can you talk about what the ultimate situation would be that fighters can do? Maybe you can't, I don't know.
You know, I'd rather not go into the hypotheticals. You know, in a situation like today, the typical scenario would be to intercept the aircraft, identify them, and then the first step would typically be to escort them away out of the flight restricted area so that they don't pose any potential threat.
But you've got other things that you can't talk about?
Well, you know, we're obviously armed aircraft, but we follow under, you know, different command directives under the Northwest Air Defense Region if we were scrambled, and we're prepared to follow up with the orders from higher authorities.
Let me clarify something. You just said we are an armed aircraft. Were these aircraft armed when they headed up north today?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So can you describe what they're armed with?
No, I cannot.
What does it mean for the airbase here, when you scramble like this? The rest of
Well, typically, if you see a scramble here, all of the command staff will respond to the command and control area and provide any support that's needed in terms of logistics, communications, that sort of thing, while these guys are executing the mission.
Now, the presidential aircraft was in the sky at the point that these planes took off, or was it already in the ground?
I don't know.
And the crew aboard these planes, one pilot, one navigator, one pilot only?
No, these are single-seat aircraft. Yeah.
And did it do anything with the, this Portland or Seattle, commercial aircraft?
Can you clarify your question a little bit? I'm not sure what you're asking.
Were any flights diverted or anything like that?
Yeah. Not to my knowledge, but I will tell you that when a scramble order does come down, we have the first priority. There's agreements in place with the Port of Portland, the control tower, Portland approach. Any aircraft that may have been coming in here to land would have been diverted immediately, and we'd be given the priority for takeoff.
When do you plan to debrief the pilots?
After I'm done talking with you.
So it would be tonight, not tomorrow.
No, it would be this evening. Yes.
And they're back here on base now.
Yes.
Can you talk about the air defense of our Northwest? You're the closest.
Absolutely, we are it. That came up during the BRAC Commission hearing several years ago, and where we were able to prove and demonstrate that we are America's primary air defense force here in the Pacific Northwest. We're responsible for covering all of Oregon, Washington, Idaho. The next closest unit would be all the way down in Fresno, California.
So with that said, how did today go?
All reports very well. We got off in record time, got on station about as quick as you could hope for, intercepted them, loitered to see if there were any other issues that we need to respond to, and then came back here to Portland.